Hi everyone, my name is Coach Susan and welcome back to another episode of Finance Friday. Today we have a very crucial topic to discuss: how to get back or how to bounce back after you have experienced a major financial setback. So many of us, over quite a number of years, throughout different seasons in life, we find ourselves in a situation where you have experienced a blow. Life has thrown you a curveball and your finances, no matter how good you are doing, have literally just been obliterated either by one event or one experience that completely took you out financially. Now, I find that a lot of us get stuck there and we stay there for too long because we have no idea how to come back from a major financial setback or how to bounce back and start the recovery process. And in today's episode, I wanted to share some pointers or some tips that can help you if you have experienced a major financial setback, either because of illness, either because of a job loss, or just something really major and catastrophic happened to you. Today's episode, I want to take some time and actually take you through how you can manage to bounce back and what a recovery plan should ideally look like. Thank you for joining me. Let's get straight into it. Before I give you some 5 powerful strategies that you can use for recovery, we need to talk about the mindset that you're coming into this with. Now, at this particular point, I want to assume that whatever life threw at you has already happened. So whether it was a job loss, whether it was a debt, whether it was a business gone wrong, whether it's losing of a loved one or even a long-term illness, we want to actually, I'm working with an assumption that that has already happened. Why I want to start with this particular point of mindset is because so many of us spend so much time and we stay too long at this place of regret, at this place of wallowing. And trust me, I'm human, so I totally get it. I also struggle with wallowing when things don't go my way, when things don't go as planned, when life throws me a curveball. I find myself wanting to just keep wallowing and just keep staying there, because even the energy to want to now start working on your finances or to start thinking about what a recovery plan would look like, there's pretty much no energy for that. And one of the things that I want to caution you against is staying down for too long. So many of us are down, not because of the situation that put us down, but because that's already far. It's already long gone, but we were unable to pick ourselves up. So we spend so much time. Where you are right now, I don't care whether it was, your fault or it was someone else's fault. The truth of the matter is that whoever's fault it was, you are already here where you are. We can't cry over spilt milk. And one of the things that I love, even as a life coach and as a personal finance coach, I have found that we get results when we are more solution oriented, when we start thinking about now and the future than dwelling so much in the past. So what am I saying? I want you to come into this with a mindset of acceptance. Accept that whatever had happened. You've probably done a lot of blame. You've blamed God, life, blamed yourself, blamed other people, blamed that spouse that put you there, or a family member that dragged you down, or, that employer that fired you or whatever. What I'm just trying to say is, please do not get stuck at that particular one point of regret and wallowing, because what you do is that as you're spending time, too long in that regret cycle, in that wallowing and feeling sorry for yourself and the pity party, you are not thinking solutions. You're still living in the past. And as long as you're still living in the past, you cannot think about, okay, so how do I get out of here? So I want you to just do a bit of a rewiring. I want you to do a bit of a restructuring. I guarantee you, even if you spend an additional 3 months blaming whoever it is that you're blaming, or you spend an additional 6 months still sitting in that pity party, your situation will still be the same in 6 months. So if you want to start recovery, the first place is forgiveness, acceptance, and stopping the pity party. Now you have to come out of it, even if it's just mentally and emotionally, and sit with yourself in a place where, or at a mental place where you are now ready to think about and to implement solutions. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, the first thing that will help you in recovery after a major financial setback is to calmly assess your current financial situation. So yes, the the setback happened, the medical bill, took you out, that sick family member took you out, or job loss disoriented you. That is what, was happening, and that's what got you into panic mode. But step number 1 is to actually assess your current financial situation. There's a movie I watched over Christmas, and I feel like it has a very powerful analogy. It was a lady who used to work in the army, and then, of course, like in one of those scenes, someone had broken into her house, and she just had her daughter crying. So it was like an almost similar situation as someone was trying to abduct the daughter. And I remember watching that particular scene when she had the break-in and she had the scream. Of course it's a movie, but like she calmly woke up, and then she took the gun, and then she was just breathing in and breathing out. And then when she calmed herself down, she just kind of like, started assessing. She looked out the window, just trying to find out, okay, what's going on. And I remember in that moment in my mind, I was like, why is she so calm? Because I'm thinking, there are people in your house, your daughter has been abducted, and I love these movies a lot, and, shooting and whatever. And one of the things that I've actually noticed is that when you're just shooting, aiming, you're in panic mode. You don't know what you're doing. You could probably just even hit a friendly or something of the sort. But like, I love the way they depict these people who've been Navy SEALs and all that. They're very calm, cool, collected and calculating people. They first of all assess the situation. A sniper is able to tell, there's another sniper there, there's this happening there, I need to pay attention to that other gunman there. I need, I love that kind of scenario. And what I learned from that is that sometimes when you're in panic mode, let me tell you guys, when you're in panic mode, you don't think. Haufikiriangi, like you're panicking, you are worried, you're lacking sleep at night, and because you're in panic mode, you cannot think. So because you've already been in panic mode, because the financial setback already happened, you want to calmly assess your financial situation. At this particular point, you want to just do it very calmly, very intentionally. Number 1, find out, okay, whatever happened, okay? So where I am right now, do I have a source of income? Because that's the most important thing. Do you even have money coming in the first place? If that's tick, ask yourself, what do my finances look like right now? What are my bare minimum expenses? What am I working with? What am I dealing with regards to monthly obligations? And then find out, did this situation put me in debt? How much debt do I owe? I know so many of us do not want to face the reality of loans, especially if it wasn't something that was your fault, or maybe it was just taking care of a family member, or you just lost your job. Find out, am I in debt? How much debt do I have? Ask yourself, in which areas am I in the red? Do I have a particular loan that could get me auctioned? Do I have this person that I need to call and communicate to? Which areas are in the red? Are my kids in arrears in school when it comes to school fees? Like, calmly seated down and with your notebook, evaluate where you are. And I'm telling you, once you get clarity of where you are, it becomes very, very easy to now identify a route, to identify an action plan. And you're like, okay, so now that I understand where I am, this is the income I earn, this is what my bare minimum expenses are, this is what my debts look like, and these are the areas that I need to pay first priority to, because I am in the red in these areas. Once you have that, and don't do that in your mind, guys. On this channel, I keep telling you guys, we write on notebooks, we do our work on Excel, ensure that you're documenting that brainstorming process. Once you have once you have better clarity on where you are, it is much easier to know where to go from there, as opposed to someone who is panicking. And that clarity in itself is already a huge first step. So the second step to recovery is actually to create a budget that reflects this new place that you are in right now. For example, if the setback got you in debt, and you remember in the first point, we've already identified how much debt we have, who we owe, and all of that. Now you want to reflect, what are the bare minimum payments that I need to make towards this particular loan or towards this particular person. If, for instance, because of that financial setback, let's even assume you lost a job, now you're at a deficit. And now you need to identify, okay, so where do I actually cut back? What do I need to do so that the little that I have right now is enough? And some of this can look like very major rather very major cuts, like even having to move to a smaller house, sometimes having to sell your car. And they can even be as little as deciding that you're going to have meat less, or just normal adjustments in your budget. What I'm just trying to say is that your budget before the financial setback cannot be the same one as this financial setback. Because remember, it's like when someone, let's say, gets like ill, and they are ill for a while, maybe some couple of weeks. When you're now starting to recover and recoup, you need to take even better care of your health. You need to avoid some things, eat more of some things. And that's how you should think about your finances. You really, really need to now start designing a new budget, like accept your new normal. Remember the first thing we said, acceptance. It's very, very important. You may not be where you want to be right now, but one of the things I keep telling people, we need to perfect the art of doing what we have to do. And one of the most amazing skills that can help you with that is resilience. I keep joking with my friends and I tell them, I feel like the fact that I grew up poor, and the fact that even a portion of my adulthood I was really, really in lack, really did me well, even in terms of my mental resilience. Because even to date, I just keep saying, I mean, if things really go south in terms of like my business, my health, etc., and I find myself in a situation where like I have gone back to poverty, or I've gone down, I feel like I've already built that mental resilience of, I know what it is to have little, and I know what it is to have much, and I'm okay with both seasons. So some of us are we resist where we are. It's like you are so clearly out, like you've been beaten, you've been crushed by life, and you're still insisting on, living in that house, and you can clearly see you can't afford it. You're still insisting on keeping your children in that school, and you know very well you're in arrears for 3 terms. You're still insisting on driving that car when you can barely even manage transport for public transport. So many of us are so resistant, and we do not accept where we are. So that's one of the things that you need to do as you're working on that new budget. Please let it be a realistic budget to where you are right now. Just because you've accepted where you are right now doesn't mean that you're going to stay there forever. As a matter of fact, refusing to accept where you are will keep you there longer, because you're going to dig into even more debt. You're going to even have more problems because you've not accepted. Some of us will have to halve our budgets. Some of us will have to even relocate where we live. Some of us will have to sell cars. Some of us will have to change our children's school. Some of us will even, I see women even cutting hair so that they can reduce that hair budget and whatever. What I'm just trying to say is that as you curate that budget, please do it in a realistic manner that actually reflects where you are. If you can accept as soon as possible where that setback hit you back to, like where it kicked you back to, just accept where you are and create a budget that reflects where you are right now. Doing that as soon as possible will actually fasten your recovery process, because you're not going to keep accumulating debt or keep accumulating financial frustration. The worst that will happen is just people talking about you and people saying nona alihama, oh nona alitoa watoto. As in, people will always talk, but again, I keep reminding you guys time and time again that people's opinions don't pay your bills. So do what you have to do, reorganize and readjust that budget to suit exactly where you are, and then start working from there. So at this particular point, you've already done your assessment. You know exactly where you are. Number 2, you've already done your budget. You've accepted where you are, and you've aligned your budget to where you are. The third thing that you need to do now is to come up with a rebuilding plan. And I know during crisis, this feels like a luxury. Like when you're going through crisis and when you're going through money problems, and someone tells you, where do you want to see yourself, in the next 1 year? Maze, you're just like, please don't talk to me about that stuff, because I'm just trying to get by. Like, I'm just trying to go 1 day at a time or 1 month at a time. So I get the temptation to just get stuck in survival mode. But I'll tell you this, just because, and this is a brutal, brutal truth. It's a sad truth and a brutal truth. But you know what, guys? Life moves on. I think this is one of the saddest things about being an adult. You lose someone, life moves on. Someone dies, life moves on. You lose your job, life moves on. You go through the most catastrophic experience you have ever imagined in your whole entire life. But you know what? Life goes on. The thing is this, life does not wait for us to, come out of our our pity party, our wallowing, our trauma, our sadness. And so one of the things that I'm saying, when I tell you to come up with a rebuilding plan, what I actually mean is that the moment you actually just begin to come up for air, the moment you realize that, okay, you know what, I think now I can start thinking, start actually coming up with a rebuilding plan. I'm not saying you must know where you want to go 10 years from now or 15 years from now. Start with a short-term goals of what does a recovery plan look like for me. Maybe for you, a simple recovery plan would be like, you know what, I need to build 2 months worth of an emergency fund, or 3 months worth of an emergency fund. At least nikwena savings, or rather I have savings that can, sustain me for 2 months or 3 months, just so that I can have some breathing space. Maybe another short-term goal or a baby step for you would look something like clearing that debt. Maybe another short-term goal would look like, looking for employment or looking for a source of income. If you can actually afford the presence of mind to think beyond the short term, if you have the ability to think medium term, and if you even think, you can even think long term, please do. You know why? Because while you're caught up in crisis and not thinking about, the future, you are piling up more problems for the future. Because for every minute you didn't think about your future, for every minute you didn't plan, for everything that you ignored during crisis, these things are passing you by, and at some point you will have to actually deal with them. So what am I saying? And this is actually the hardest bit of recovering from a financial setback, because a lot of us come out of it with trauma, with wounds, with fear, with anxiety, with discouragement. So even the little things that you would have had the psyche to actually do and implement, right now you're really just pretty much running on low. You are operating on the bare minimum. And I feel like that's one of the things that keeps us longer. So let's assume like you lost a job, or you lost a loved one, or you're in debt. When you spend so much time, because you're in survival mode, when other people are thinking, I need to start saving for this child's education. You've not even thought about your child's education. But you know what? You're still responsible for educating that child either way. Does that make sense, guys? And I know that's very, very brutal. It's a brutal truth and a brutal fact in life, that life moves on. So again, this is one of the reasons I keep encouraging people, please do not stay there for too long. Do what you have to do. So we already said, just to recap what we've already discussed, number one, calmly assess your situation. Know exactly where you are. Have a very clear picture of where you stand right now. And then, of course, we've said, ensure that your budget is aligned to where you are. You're not pushing things that you can no longer handle. You're not biting more than what you can chew. And then now, step number 3, we have said, please remember that life still moves on. If you still had kids, they still need school. They still need food. If you're still living by yourself, you still need to find that rent. You still need to clear that debt. So you cannot stay at survival mode and day-to-day mode every time. You actually have to start strategizing. And a simple way to do that is, even if the medium-term and long-term goals seem very stressful to you, just start with those short-term goals we've talked about. And then as you practice to think about those short-term goals, then you can actually now start focusing on the long term and the medium term. We are saying you cannot ignore those things, because either way, they're going to catch up with you. Now, the fourth thing that you actually need to do is to be willing to make adjustments and to adapt regularly. Can I tell you something, guys? Especially after recovering, like when you're trying to recover from a financial setback, there's no 1 month that your budget is actually going to be the same. Like it's gonna look haywire. It's gonna look like things are just crazy. Like they're just, you're wondering, my God, will anything ever make sense in my finances ever again? Please, yes, it will make sense eventually. What you need to do is to be flexible enough and be able to adapt. So be okay with your bills looking so different last month, and then this month it's like a completely different ball game. Be ready to notice fluctuations in your savings. Be ready to, 1 month you've managed to save, the other month the loan people were calling you and you actually had to do that. Because once you've allowed yourself that flexibility and all that, then you actually do not give up too soon. Because a lot of us, we start, okay, we've done the budget, we've decided now I'm actually going to recover. I will recover, and then month 1, something happens, it shakes you a little bit, and you just automatically decide that it's not going to work. Please, after a crisis, after a financial setback, it could even take months or even 1 or 2 years before you start seeing a level of stability and a level of consistency when it comes to your finances. So the best skill you can arm yourself with is flexibility and adaptability. Be willing to adapt. Last month's budget looked like this. It's okay. You do a new budget for this month. This month, the budget is even a little bit difficult. You didn't stick to it, even half of it. It's okay. Do another budget next month. Let's say you are not able to completely pay the debt you were intending to pay. Just ensure that you just become adaptable to these situations and become flexible. No 1 month will look exactly the same, but believe me, it's not gonna last forever. So you be willing to, this month looks different, the other month looks different, the other month it's even more confusing. The only thing I'm saying is do not give up, and don't just decide that because last month and this month didn't work, the other month will not work. You'll probably do that for maybe 3 months, 6 months, and then eventually you start getting back into the normal routine of what you imagined things would look like, okay? And then lastly, point number 5, you want to ask for help. And this is something I keep telling people time and time and time again. Once you've experienced things like a job loss of a loved one, a catastrophic thing that really just knocked you off the park when it comes to finances, a lot of us are dealing with shame. A lot of us are dealing with guilt, especially if you are the cause of your trouble. So most of us, maybe you made a bad financial decision, the money tanked. We don't want to ask for help and we don't want to talk to people because, number one, we feel so ashamed. We feel guilty. We feel like people will laugh at us. Sometimes we feel like, surely, people will even ask you, Kwani, you were not thinking, Kwani, you didn't have, Kwani, you didn't know what you were doing. What I'm trying to say is don't get into that self-blaming cycle that you do not ask for help. You could get help from a trusted friend or a trusted family member. Please underline the word trusted. Okay, you don't just share all your business to everyone. So ensure that you can share the burden, the mental and the emotional burden with a trusted friend, partner, or even someone who's a mentor or even a therapist, because too many people are committing even suicide because of financial problems and because you've kept it to yourself and you're struggling, you can't sleep, you are anxious, you're depressed. Please ensure that you get help. Another place you can get help is working with a financial coach like myself, so that we can actually come up with a recovery plan. So many people have come to me at the brink of hopelessness and they tell me, coach, this and this happened and now I'm starting the year, or where I am right now, I do not even know where to go or what to do. If you have the financial resources, maybe you're just now coming up for air, please get the help of a trusted finance coach or a personal finance trainer who can help you to reorganize. Again, a lot of these things, when you're trying to do them by yourself, it's probably going to take you so many months or even years to get back. But with the right guidance, with the right information, with the right strategy and the right accountability, years can actually be shortened into months because now you have the right strategies. We'll sit down, we'll do a new budget for you. We will look at that debt and come up with a repayment plan. We'll look at how to, start building savings back from scratch if you're starting from zero. Do not die with these problems alone. One of the things that you need to understand is thousands and millions of people every single day, every single month, every single year go through major financial setbacks. I've gone through a major financial setback just last year. And even the other year, I went through a major financial setback. Do not feel ashamed that you made a bad investment decision, a bad business decision, that you lost your job. Talk to the right people. Again, your trusted colleagues, your trusted friends and family members, or you can also hire the help of a professional personal finance trainer like myself to help you with the recovery plan and the recovery process. Having the right help and the right guidance will actually help your recovery to be much faster, as opposed to when you're just punching the air, not knowing exactly what you're doing. And of course, if you'd like to consult me on that level, maybe you've just come up for air and you're trying to figure out what's the next step, I'm going to leave a link in the description box down below where you can book a consultation session with me so that I can take you through, the first steps of coming up with a recovery strategy, so that in 2024, we are having a different conversation towards the end of this year. So it is super important, again, to remember that you're not alone in all of this. Financial setbacks are normal. They are part of life. It's not only just unique to you. So don't die with your problems. In case you have any questions or concerns, again, linked in the description box down below is my email. You could always reach out, but please let's also utilize the comment section. If you've ever been through a financial setbacks and you'd like to share how you were able to come out of it, please let us know how you came out of it in the comment box down below. Also, if you're currently going through a financial setback and you have no idea where to start, please leave your question or your concern in the comment section down below, and I'm going to take some time this week to respond to some of your questions in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please remember to like the video, to share it with your friends, to subscribe to my channel. It really helps support my work and the work that we do at the Legacy Hub Kenya. And also remember to turn on your notification bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you on the next ones.